And if I'm completely honest, the substance abuse for a lot of the people who live outside is a huge issue. I'm not by any means saying that it is everybody, because it's not. I've met people who don't have that issue at all. It was just they were circumstances that put them outdoors just like me. You know, some of them chose to be outdoors just like me. Um, and so, you know, they were there temporarily as well, and they were doing everything that they could to get out of the situation. So I do know people who did not suffer from substance abuse, but the majority of the people that I met did. And I believe that that is um, where we need to start, you know, because if you get a job and you're spending all of your resources to support your habit, how long will you have in that house, in that apartment? Um, and that's just a question. And they do address it, and they, you know, of course, give people free will to go and get rehabilitation services. But again, it's the desire, and then having the fortitude to stand and say, okay, I'm in this situation. I'm going to go to rehab, and then having the strength and the willpower to continue the sobriety after they've been released. That was the other thing. And I met some really, really great people. I did. People that are absolutely amazing, with amazing minds, hearts of gold. They just had an issue with some sort of a substance. So I think that definitely does need to be addressed, and more permanent housing. More permanent housing is definitely needed. It's like, how can we provide that? How can we provide a sustainable community for people who live outside? You know, that's a whole nother issue, because that's something else that I really struggled with, just the stigma of being outside and how people treat you. You know, people treat me now very well because, well, like a human being, because I'm not carrying that backpack everywhere with me, and, well, two backpacks, you know, and I don't look like I'm just coming from outside. And I tried not to look that way even when I was out there, but it was a little difficult when you've got two backpacks, one in front, one in back. You know, they kind of know what's happening with you. And when that happens, whether I was in Memphis or in Texas, people would not speak to you. It's like they would walk around you. You know, you could see people staring at you, and, you know, making comments and things like that. And if they didn't speak to you, sometimes they wouldn't even look at you to acknowledge you, even if you'd spoken to them. That, in my opinion, is the absolute worst. And what I'm saying by that is not that I felt bad by it. I didn't. I just realized how disconnected as people we have become. You know, when we put things above the humanity of others. You know, it's almost as if there was this air of, you're beneath me because you live outside. You don't have a house. You don't have a car. You don't have all these fancy things. And I can't speak to you. It's going to damage me in some way. Or I can't even look at you to acknowledge you. Even though you've spoken to me, I cannot acknowledge it because, you know, you are just the scum of the earth. kind of vibes that you get from people. That was disheartening. I'm going to be honest. That was very, very disheartening. And I know that Memphis is a part of the South as well, but I just expected that Texas wasn't going to be like that, but it was. It's the same. So for that reason, I really wanted to do this interview because I want people to know and to see that just because someone lives outside doesn't mean that they're scum, doesn't mean that they have drug addictions, doesn't mean that they are low lives, doesn't mean any of that. It just means that they happen to find themselves living outside.